Do you know? Under the leadership of a renowned Brahmin scholar from India, a small band of Brahmin warriors reached the blood-soaked battlefield of Karbala. And that day, they stood beside Imam Hussain, facing Yazid's mighty army in open combat. But the question arises, why? Why were these Brahmin warriors ready to sacrifice their lives for Husain ibn Ali? What bond did they share with Imam Hussain? That day, most of those Brahmin soldiers laid down their lives defending the rights of the Imam. Their blood mingled with the sacred sands of Karbala. This event remains immortal in the pages of Islamic history. And yet, for some mysterious reason, it has been erased from the mainstream history of India. Still, such an example of communal harmony is among the rarest in all of history. In this video, we will narrate to you that forgotten yet unparalleled tale of courage. And in the end, we will present historical evidence so that you can verify the truth of this event for yourself. Come, let us begin the search for an extraordinary truth. The latter half of the 7th century, in the scorching deserts of Arabia, a new sun of Islam was rising. This was the critical juncture, when after the passing of Prophet Muhammad, a fierce struggle for power, however, erupted across the Islamic world. On one side were those who wished to remain steadfast on the path shown by the Prophet, the ideals of truth, justice, and compassion. And on the other side were those who, blinded by the lust for power, did not hesitate to trample every boundary of morality. This conflict brought Islamic history to a turning point, the echoes of which have resounded through human society for centuries. In 670 CE, when Imam Hussain, the elder son of the daughter of the Prophet, was assassinated, his younger brother, Imam Hussain, emerged as the living embodiment of truth and justice. He made a firm decision, never to bow before injustice, even if it meant sacrificing his own life. This was not merely a struggle for power, it was a battle of conscience, a great war of ideals, the oppressed rising against tyranny, the merciless truth standing against falsehood. The echoes of this struggle reached far and wide, even to the soil of India. There, under the leadership of a Brahmin family, an entire region embraced this fight for justice, and they dedicated their lives, their faith, their very existence to this noble cause. This is the story of the Hussaini Brahmins, a unique community who, though followers of Hinduism, regard Imam Hussain as their ideal and carry his martyrdom deep within their hearts, as though it were a part of their very soul. The tale begins around 620 CE in the province of Punjab, India. There was born a wise, devout, and courageous Brahmin, Rahab Siddhat. From his childhood, he was deeply immersed in the study of the Vedas and scriptures, while his family carried forward a legacy of faith and knowledge passed down through generations. But Rahab believed religion was not merely about chanting mantras or performing rituals. Rather, wherever injustice arose, standing firmly for the truth was the truest form of faith. He would often tell the villagers, if everyone remains silent in the face of injustice, then we too stray away from the path of righteousness. This very conviction shaped him into a respected, exemplary figure in his village. People listened to Rahab's words with full attention and accepted his decisions without hesitation. Rahab had 7 sons, each one young, brave, and as just as their father. They had not only inherited the knowledge of the Vedas, but also their father's sacred teaching that to sacrifice one's life for the cause of truth is the true essence of religion. Then came that moment, the year 680 CE. Rahab heard from a traveler about the Battle of Karbala and the struggle of Imam Hussain. The traveler had come from Arabia. He said, the grandson of Prophet Muhammad, Imam Hussain, has risen against a tyrant ruler named Yazid. Yazid had seized power through deceit, trampled the principles of Islam under his feet, and now he sought to erase Imam Hussain himself. But Hussain raised his voice against tyranny. He called upon people to stand with him in the name of truth. Yet, by his side were only a handful of companions, some elders, some women, and some innocent children. On the other side stood Yazid's countless army, armed to the teeth, intoxicated with power. Hearing this news, a fire blazed within Rahab's heart. He thought, is this merely a matter of Islam? No, this is the battle of every human being who dares to speak against injustice. He realized if he remained silent now, he too would become a silent accomplice to that injustice. He called his 7 sons and revealed the entire story to them. There was firmness in his voice. "My sons, in the sands of Arabia, a tyrant seeks to crush the truth. Imam Hussain stands as the shining lamp of that truth. Shall we sit quietly? No, we must stand by his side. Perhaps we will lose our lives, but if we remain silent, our conscience will never forgive us." Hearing these words, an unyielding courage lit up in the eyes of his sons. The eldest spoke, "Father, to be martyred in the path of truth will be an honor for us. We are with you." The other brothers also agreed. Along with them came several more villagers, brave, honest, and devoted to justice. And thus, Rahab Sidat set forth with his 7 sons and companions towards Karbala on the path of truth and sacrifice. It was a long, exhausting, and breathless journey. Rahab and his companions crossed Punjab and reached the borders of Sindh. Then they traversed the scorching deserts of Balochistan, where finding even a single drop of water meant a struggle as hard as breaking stones. The path was full of thorns, shortage of water, scarcity of food, and the constant threat of bandits. Together, it was a trial of endurance. Yet neither Rahab, nor his 7 sons, nor his brave followers ever showed a trace of fear or hesitation. With unwavering faith and steadfast hearts, they marched along the road through Persia until at last they arrived at the sacred soil of Iraq, near Karbala. Along the way, they faced opposition many times. People often said, "Why involve yourselves in this war? This is an internal matter of Islam. You are Brahmins, Hindus. What connection do you have with Imam Hussain?" But Rahab's reply was always the same, firm and resolute. Injustice, wherever it may be, if one sees it and remains silent, then he too becomes a partner to that injustice. This battle is not only Islam's, this battle is humanity's. At last, as they reached the plains of Karbala, they beheld a sight that remains to this day one of the most heart-wrenching scenes in human history. On one side stood Yazid's vast army, thousands upon thousands of soldiers, armed with sharpened swords, piercing spears, and iron shields. Blinded by the intoxication of power, they were ready to crush anyone who dared oppose them. And on the other side, a small caravan of Imam Hussain, a few elderly men, some courageous women, and innocent children. They had neither many weapons nor a mighty army, but upon their faces glowed a silent radiance, the brilliance of truth and sacrifice, a light no sword could ever cut through. At that time, Imam Hussain was within his camp, serene, deep, and composed. Around him stood his family and a handful of loyal companions. He knew perhaps this would be the last battle of his life, yet not a trace of despair was upon him. His conviction remained firm. Truth can never be defeated. And in this very moment, Rahab Sidat expressed his desire with utmost respect to meet Imam Hussain. When their first meeting took place, Imam Hussain gazed deeply into the eyes of Rahab. The aged Brahmin stood there in solemn peace, clad in his traditional attire, a white dhoti, an upper cloth, and a light-colored shawl draped over him, a tilak upon his forehead, and in his eyes, the shining glow of unshakable resolve. Imam Hussain asked with deep curiosity, "You are a Brahmin, a follower of Hinduism. You have no direct connection with Islam. Then what has brought you to stand beside us?" Rahab lifted his head high, his voice firm, unwavering, resolute. "Conscience is greater than religion itself, and my conscience tells me you walk the path of truth. In the Vedas, I have read, religion is not merely the observance of rituals. True religion is to stand for truth and justice. If I remain silent today, then I too become a partner in Yazid's crimes." Hearing these words, a gentle smile yet profound appeared on Imam Hussain's face. He stepped forward slowly and embraced Rahab to his chest. Then he said, "Your sacrifice proves truth can never be enslaved by any single faith." This is where we conclude today's video. But the story hasn't ended yet. The most thrilling, the most unforgettable part, I'll bring for you in the next episode, so don't miss it. Friends, if this story touched your heart, do show your support by giving it a like. Don't forget to share your feelings in the comments. Who knows, your thoughts might inspire someone else too. And to discover more such unheard tales from history, glorious legends, and the fascinating chapters of ancient Indian culture, make sure to subscribe to our channel. Tap the bell icon so you never miss an update. Come, let us rediscover together our lost heritage, the forgotten stories of India.